We got now 2 people in the room doing the same thing. Got a fellow team leader. What's up, Vince?
What's going on, man?
Another day in paradise, doing better than I ought. So we were already chatting. I just want to just reroute it right to what we were talking about. You were just getting into. You played UD lacrosse, D1 lacrosse. Got injured. I was just about to ask, what's the professional atmosphere like? If you're a badass lacrosse player, what's the next step? Like get a job, or is it go play lacrosse?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. So the professional game is definitely changing. So in professional lacrosse, there's outdoor and indoor as well. So
and you play for University of Delaware. You specifically were playing outdoor.
Outdoor.
Is that the only program they offer normally? Is that typically in college?
Yep.
How's that experience just being a college athlete? Because I feel I'm one of those people who picked military over college and didn't get that college experience. And I was athletic. I played a lot in high school, and I feel I missed out on the potential of being that college athlete and living that experience. Do you look back on it fondly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And
so I did miss out. Damn.
Talk
to me about it.
Yeah. So I definitely look back on it fondly. Thinking back to answer your first question, like, hey, what's that experience like? Number one, it's straight up, it's a job. So it's 1,000% a job. Like you got to go to work every single day. And my high school lacrosse coach, he puts it the best way that I've ever heard anyone say it. He asks kids, scale 1 to 10, how bad do you want to play college lacrosse, Zach Loft?
Probably a 1 at this point in my life.
Gotcha, a 1, yeah. So if that's not an 11 out of 10, it's not for you. If it's a 7, 8, there are rough days. I remember showing back up, January 2nd, it's 25 degrees out, and we're on the practice field at 5:45 a.m. And it's like, what am I doing? I was just, bombed on New Year's. I'm still fighting a hangover. I'm sick. I got this cough sort of deal. And it's like, whoop, whoop, whistle, let's go. Hey, we're out. Hey, you guys messed up. The warm-up's back on the line. That's what it is, dude. Yeah.
And so from there, you go through senior year, you play 4 years, you're a badass lacrosse player. The next step is major league. Do they have that? Can we look that up, Sean?
Correct. Yeah. So it's called the PLL, so Professional Lacrosse League. So
PLL.
So there used to be a league called the MLL, Major League Lacrosse League, which is franchises.
I think I'd heard of that.
Yep. Yeah.
Was that recently around, in the 2000s?
Yes.
Okay.
It was still around up until a few years ago. So they had franchises. There was a Philadelphia Barrage.
Nice.
The Chesapeake Bayhawks was out of Annapolis.
Any Delaware love?
No Delaware love.
Why can't we get a sports team? Damn it.
Yeah. Maybe one day. We're getting there.
They're trying to get another minor league team in Dover.
Yeah.
It's a part of their 5-year plan.
Okay, sweet. Any sport in particular? Or?
I think minor league baseball.
Oh, nice. That'd be awesome.
Trying to get in our baseball field, maybe a Shorebirds type deal.
But yeah. So the big dog in lacrosse these days is a guy named Paul Rabel. He actually was a little bit of Jackie Moon. He was player commissioner.
No way.
Yeah. So him and his brother started it. They got some
badass jerseys.
Barstool,
Portnoy and all them.
Yeah, whoever funded them. Was one of the initial backers for the PLL, and I'm very fortunate. I got a bunch of friends who are in the league, which is super awesome to watch.
Absolutely, it looks like Philly's in a tournament.
Yep, yeah. So the PLL, what they did is they rolled out with 6 teams about 4 years ago, and now they've upped that to 8. Okay. So the MLL is no longer, but they brought over one of the franchises. If you look to the left of Boston over there, so the Boston Cannons, that's a former MLL franchise.
Got it. And they're on ESPN too. They're getting legit coverage.
It's huge. Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. So what this is in particular, so this is a little bit of indoor. So lacrosse is a little bit confusing in terms of the men's game is completely different than the women's game. It's 2 totally separate games.
Because and not to be ignorant, but that's not field hockey, right? There is female lacrosse.
Correct.
Because I don't know if I've ever been to a female lacrosse game.
Yep, yeah. So there's female lacrosse.
All right.
And it's different. It's
but it's different games.
A little bit more like soccer. Men's outdoor lacrosse is very similar to basketball. Hockey, yeah. So it's very similar. It's very fast-paced up and down. The women's game is going to be a little bit slower. It's still
a little bit more methodical.
Yeah, a little bit more hey, let's get it down in our zone and hold it.
Switch field. Right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And you can rock behind the goal and everything, so got it.
Yep, yeah. But what this is, what we're seeing these games is in the Olympics, lacrosse is going to be an Olympic sport, and the version that they're using is called 6s. So outdoor lacrosse is 10 on 10. Indoor lacrosse is 6 on 6, 5 field players and a goalie. The indoor game is played largely in Canada, in boxes, in arenas, like a hockey rink. So Philadelphia has a team, the Wings, so they play in the Wells Fargo Center. So that's the indoor game. What this is different than this, than both of the other two men's games I just described. So this is called sixes. This is a super high-paced, fast-paced game where, like, in indoor, a lot of these guys will wear, like, rib pads and, like, super guards because, like, you're just beating the crap out of each other. These guys are more dressed in field gear. Like indoor lacrosse, a goalie, like he takes a stick, he puts it between his legs. He's dressed like a hockey goalie.
Got it.
In this sixes format, he's dressed like an outdoor field goalie.
Got it.
They kind of did away with the face-off, so there's only a face-off at the beginning of the quarters, and then the game's super fast-paced up and down. Where
Can we look up highlights of that? Like, will we look up like sixes lacrosse highlights?
Yeah, PLL Championship Series sixes.
Got it.
And you can see it, move very quickly up and down. There's a 2-point arc, which is similar to like a 3-pointer in lacrosse. It's like 13, 15 yards. And these guys are just ripping it. So like, this is the second year that they're doing this. So they take I believe the top 4 teams in the league get this. And going back to what you're saying earlier, like, hey, can these guys make a profession? Yes, the top guys are able to make a profession out of this. So in addition to, so this is the outdoor game. Yep.
Got it.
Yeah. So this is the outdoor game. If we want to try to get it'll be PLL Championship Series sixes is most likely what it would be under. But so the top dogs, like New Balance owns a brand called Warrior. Warrior's the lacrosse brand. So I have a couple friends sponsored by Warrior. My one friend, Grant, I met, he has a head, his own signature head, designed by Warrior.
The head of a lacrosse.
Yeah. So this is sixes right here. So
this is Atlas versus the Whip Snakes.
Yes.
2023 Championship Series pool play. Okay, so the field's smaller. Yep. I see the arc you're talking about too. That's the 2-point arc?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so this guy playing defense right here, we went to high school together. His name's Doxy.
Oh, number 6 right there?
Yeah, number 6.
Doxy. Okay.
He's the boy. Doxy actually had a tryout with the Patriots this past year, the New England Patriots.
What? Oh, football team.
Yeah, so you see it.
Man, what is he going to be? Julian Edelman? Is he going to be a wideout?
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. But, so you see, like, the guy scored, and the goalie immediately puts the ball back into play.
Okay, so they don't stop play. They just take it out of the back of the net and keep going.
Short time clock here.
Oh,
so,
God.
they work it around. It's 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Guy shoots, scores. Goalie picks it up, boom, throws it.
Okay, so you got one ref on one side, one ref on the other to keep up with the pace.
Yep.
Because that ref doesn't look like he does too many runs.
Goalie save, boom, the ball's right out, and boom.
Wow.
Hey,
a little bit of cherry picking.
Fast break,
so you keep 5. So it's do all 5 players come back and play defense?
Yep. Yeah. Like
it's 5v5 pretty much with goalies on each side.
Correct.
And all players play offense and defense in this version.
Yep. Yeah. All with short sticks. So there's no long sticks in this sixes format. So this is going to be the Olympic format.
Okay.
Yep.
This is fun.
Dude, it's super high paced. It's awesome. So the sixes, I'm actually trying to go to it, and unfortunately it's Wednesdays of Valentine's Day is the only day I can go to it. So I'm trying to go down on Wednesday. We'll see.
This Wednesday.
But, they're playing it outside of DC. So, So they're just here for a week. It's Wednesday through Monday, President's Day.
Yeah, that's dope. What do you even do as a goalie in those one-on-ones? It's just a lot of luck, a lot of just make yourself as big as possible. Kind of like I was a soccer goalie, so
do your best.
Yeah, because in soccer, I can be a lot more aggressive as a goalie.
So this was the best player right here. This guy, number 5, Romar Dennis.
Oh shit! That was nasty.
Unbelievable.
That was nasty.
Romar is unbelievable. Yeah, he played at Loyola.
Because that circle around the goalie, he cannot leave that circle, right?
So the guys, the field players can't enter that.
Okay.
So
can the goalie leave it?
Yeah. The goalie can definitely leave it. The field guys can't enter it.
Walked out of it.
Yeah, unless it's like they shoot it. If they get pushed in there, that's fine. But if it go, see that? Like,
shoot, good lord.
Romar's so good.
And so what's this level look like compared to like a University of Delaware? I mean, you're talking about the daily grind of it, but skill level to get to this versus maybe were you at that level before you tore something? Is this something that
like? It's one of the things that, like, hindsight being 2020, like, it's one of the things I wish I would have dedicated a little bit more to. You grow up over 10 years, I'm 10 years removed from college lacrosse now. So it's one of the things I look back on, not necessarily as a regret, but like, hey, maybe I could have pushed this a little bit further. For me, I was a defenseman, so I had a big stick. And I started late. So the high school I went to, my senior year, we were number 1 team in the country. We went undefeated.
Wow.
Publications or reporters at all of our games and stuff. Like it was unbelievable. Yeah, I was in the centerfold of a
which
magazine.
Year at UD was this?
No, so this is my senior year of high school.
Senior high school.
Yeah,
got it.
2011. Yeah.
Heard. Which high school?
I went to the Haverford School on the main line outside of Philadelphia. It's an all-boys private high school. and just a phenomenal lacrosse history, phenomenal lacrosse program. So we went wire to wire, number 1 in the country in 2011. And what I will say there is, like, when I was getting recruited, like, my high school coach was one of those guys that, like, I really learned the power of a referral, and it's not, what you know, it's who you know. So he came to me at the end of my junior year. I played JV my first 2 years. My junior year, I went out for varsity, and they told me in tryouts, they're like, hey, dude, we know you're a varsity football player. We know that you wrestle. Like, my coach, Coach Patron, he said to me, an exact quote, he said, bust your cock in this drill, and we're going to put you on varsity. So I did, made varsity, worked my way up the depth chart. Started at, like, number 10 on the depth chart for a defenseman, worked my way up to, like, 4 or 5 my junior year. And then my senior year, I started about half the games. And at the end of my junior year, my head coach, Coach Nostrand, he was like, hey, dude, do you want to play college lacrosse? Like, you can. I was like, really? Like, we sat down, me, him, and my parents. I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, dude, you totally can. Like, make a list of, 10 D1 schools you want to go to, 10 D3 schools you want to go to. Let me know. So I did that. Was lightly recruited by, like, a lot of D3 schools, because a lot of the lacrosse recruiting, it's crazy. Like, kids commit in, like, 8th grade, 9th grade. Like, and I am 17 as a junior, going to be a senior, and these coaches are like, hey, do you have any film? I'm like, not really. Not really, yeah. But, like, in practice, I was going against, Carl Walrath, who's number 5 player in the country, going to UVA. I'm going against Hup Hupfeld, who's lefty attackman, going to UPenn. I'm going against Zach Rego, who's going to Georgetown. So I'm like, hey, dude, I play these guys in practice all the time. So long story short, Tuesday before Thanksgiving, I'll never forget, I'm working out at our gym. He walks in. He's like, hey, dude, brand new D1 program, High Point University in North Carolina. They're starting up. I gave the coach your information. He's going to give you a call tonight. Call him, set up a visit for the next week, go down. And all I saw was D1. I was like, all right. He's like, hey, do you want to come here? I looked at my mom and dad, and I was like, yeah, I want to come. And my mom's like, hey, do you want to talk about it? I was like, no, this is it. Like,
this is it. D1. Let's do it. Yeah.
The guy said D1. Did you hear that? Like
yeah.
We're going D1. I want to be a D1 athlete. So, so went down to High Point. And then to answer your question, like, every level that you get up to, the speed is just so quick. So when I was at High Point, we were a club team our first year. So we played a handful of other club teams like Virginia Tech, Tennessee, these other, like, club schools, which is cool. And then we did a handful of games against some professional teams, like, in their preseason.
Oh, that's dope.
The game was so fast.
Yeah, I imagine.
Unbelievably fast. So the game now has a shot clock. When I first started playing, there wasn't a shot clock.
What's the shot clock? How long?
So at that point in time, it was like 90 seconds.
Okay,
right?
got it.
So you have, 20, 30 seconds to get over the midline, and then 60 seconds of offense. In that 60 seconds, dude, like, these pro players are so quick, they're so shifty, and like the best attackmen in the world, their feet never stop moving. Yeah. So I'll never forget, I covered this dude, Jimmy Daly, who was a little guy. He was maybe 5'4", little water bug. Played at Stevenson, and then he had a nice little pro career. This guy, he just ate my lunch. Like, he was just effortless, just, like, floating around. Yeah, and, like, he just went, whoop, boom.
I think that's the thing that most people don't realize about the professional level of any sport is what you just said, like, the speed.
Yeah.
The ability for these athletes at that level to look at what's going on and analyze and move in a, like, habitual, instinctual manner. Like, they don't have to think about it. They just know.
Second nature.
And with such, I mean, there's only, like you said, 8 teams, 6s, you get reserves. That's less than 100 people that across this country that are playing the sport. So you imagine it's a pretty high quality of competition, right?
Correct, yeah. And at that point in time, like, a lot of these guys call them their mid-20s, right? So they've been playing since they've had a stick in their hand for 20 years, since they were 5, 6 years old. And
it's an extension of them.
Yeah. And what I really love is, like these guys, it's not easy, right? So the top dogs, call it that top 100 players, right? The top dogs are that, the top 10%, 10 to 15 guys who do it for a living, right? The other guys, they got jobs during the week, right? And then they're flying out on the weekend still for, like, their various events. So a lot of these guys will still run, like, camps, either, like, after work or, like, in the off season, do some personal training, extra money sort of deal. But what I really love about it is these guys are pushing it for the love of the game. Like, if you're doing something at 25, 26 years old, like lacrosse wise, these guys aren't making millions of dollars, but you know, they're really doing it in I would like to think for the love of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. To like grow the brand. And you know, just make it more and more. So Paul Rabel's been huge on, you know, growing the visibility of all that stuff. So and I think the game's in a phenomenal place right now. These young kids, 7th, 8th grade, are studs. Like, it's just wild to just watch the skill level. It's just
I view the same thing when I'm watching basketball, youth leagues right now, high school teams. I mean, they're playing at much higher clicks. I mean, you got 6'5", 8th graders that are dunking with ease in AAU leagues. You got
and just the handles.
The handles, absolutely. Yeah. Everybody's Steph Curry now. Yep. So everyone's been shooting 30-foot threes in their driveway since they were an 8-year-old, yeah. and now they're out doing it on a court. And coaches are for it, and it's shifted the game drastically. And I think a lot of games are speeding up, becoming more athletic, and just like a video game, like everyone's trying to find like the next best way to get the edge or the advantage. You can get even the esports. That's another big one on the comeback. Revolving back to UD and Delaware, you're now running a real estate team in Delaware up in the Wilmington area, Trolley Square area.
Trolley Square, yep.
Yeah, I said Trolley, Trolley Square. Tell me about that. Like, how long you been at that? What's been the journey? What got you from I'm in lacrosse, I'm going through college to I'd like to sell houses?
Yeah. So fun journey there. Yeah. So we'll try to condense it down, hit the highlights. So,
sure.
Did 2 years at High Point. Transferred to University of Delaware. Had some personal stuff go on. Just wanted to be back home. I had a back injury my sophomore year. So I just wanted to be back home, get a fresh start, right? So I go to Delaware, and I'm there. When you transfer, they were like, "Hey, dude, you're basically a freshman." I'm like, "I'm a junior."
Got it.
But like they're like, "None of your credits
for all
transfer."
intents and purposes."
I'm like, "This college thing's a scam."
Heard.
Yeah, it's a scam, right? So I do 2 years at Delaware. I play my whole junior year. I play, a couple months of my senior year, then I end up tearing my ACL, and I'm like, all right, lacrosse is done. I had a great run. I just want to be a college kid. I want to hang out with this beautiful girl, Mary Kate, who ended up, being my wife. So, it all worked out there. But, towards the end of my, quote unquote senior year, I'm like okay, I'm like a sophomore. I was always a good student academically, but like my head just wasn't in it. I had a friend who passed away. I had injuries going on, and I was just like, school's not for me. Like, I'm just going to figure it out. So I drop out of school, have to tell my grandmother, have to tell my parents. I'm like, guys, don't worry about me. I'm going to figure it out. Like, don't worry about me. So from there, I had a cousin who caddied at a golf course. So I started caddying. So I was like, quote unquote, a professional club caddy at Marion Golf Club. Probably one of the best experiences of my life. So I did that for 3 years.
And did you get into golf then, or were you already in the golf?
I grew up golfing.
Okay, so you're already into it.
Yep. Yeah. So my grandfather was a career Marine, and he always lived on a golf course. So I grew up, I walked my first 18 holes when I was like 3 years old.
Okay, got it.
So he would play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
So this is a great job for you now where you're at.
And I'm loving it. And like I got exposed to a completely different world of golf. Like you've played public courses and private courses, right? There's a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I got exposed to the 1% of the 1% of private clubs, and I was like, okay, this is how the game is meant to be played. Like, you go out in foursomes, you play a little Nassau match. Like, it's good camaraderie. It's good. It's in 4 hours. Like, I knew what was going on, and I just met so many people up there. Huge alumni base with my high school, so I met so many older alums who I would have never had the opportunity to meet. So many cool business
higher
people.
Net worth individuals too to connect with.
Yeah, met Mr. Steph Curry.
Oh wow, so that's
Steph
dope.
Curry, Andre Iguodala.
That's fire.
Doug Peterson played on draft day, the day that they drafted Carson Wentz.
Really?
Yeah, so like at the Caddy Shack, so I had to show up an hour or two, like at hour 15 before your round. You had to show up, check in, and then like 20, 30 minutes, you had to go work the wall. So the wall is like where the people come up, drop their bags. So like it could be anyone.
And which course is this again? Can we look it up?
Yep, Marion.
Marion?
Yep, Marion East.
Marion East.
Yeah, so hosted the 2013 U.S. Open. Justin Rose was the winner.
Whoa,
and then,
got it.
So golf, I know that you're a golfer. I'm a huge golfer. So golf is.
I wouldn't call myself a golfer. I like to golf. I'm not good. I'm not good.
Yeah.
High 80s. That's my guarantee.
Here's the thing. No one's good at golf. Yeah, similar to what we were just talking about. There's levels to this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's levels to this.
So Marion, huge tradition. What they're like claim to fame is they've hosted a USGA event every decade. So they've hosted Walker Cups, like Ricky Fowler played in a Walker Cup there. They've hosted U.S. Opens 1971, 1981, 2013. And now the U.S. Open is going to a rotating schedule similar to the British Open. So the British Open plays the same like 5-6 courses, and then they throw in like a random one there. So the U.S. Open is going to that. So like courses that I'm sure you've heard of. So Pinehurst number 2, Torrey Pines, Bethpage Black.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Marion is now in that.
So that's beautiful.
Yeah. So Marion just got awarded the 2030, 2040, and 2050 U.S. Opens.
Jeez. Wow. That far ahead.
Yep. Yeah.
There's some terrible pictures of it.
That far ahead. Yeah. So the course is unbelievable. And it was just such an experience to,
One point ranked the 5th race course in the world or in America. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. So where I went
to
high school.
Ardmore, Pennsylvania.
Yep. Yeah. So that's the club. It's like a little L like this.
Okay.
And then across the street is Haverford College, and right next to there is the Haverford School where I went to high school.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. I see Community Park of Haverford right there. Okay. Heard. Yeah. So you're caddying here. You get done that. What brings you then to your next career point?
Yep. So my wife, for just full disclosure, my wife doesn't really have a relationship with her father. So she had a handful of job offers. Great girl, went to Ursuline, did well academically. UD did well academically. Handful of job offers. I think a lot of kids coming out of college, they get like the Northwestern Mutual or like call center sort of deal. So she had all those offers, like 5 of them, right? She was going around interviewing. And the gentleman who owned her building, my wife was the captain of her club basketball team, and his daughter was on the club basketball team. They were roommates. His name's Jeff Lang. So she was like, hey, like, what do I do? Who do I talk to? So I was like, why don't you just go talk to Jeff? Like, he owns this building that you're living in. Like, why don't you just go talk to him? So she goes and talks to Jeff, and Jeff's like, hey, like, these are all, solid job offers. I'm sure you'll do successful. Why don't you just come work for me? And she's like, what do you do? And he's like, real estate. Yeah. And so she's like, she comes back and we're talking about it. And she's like, I don't know what to do. I was like, why don't you just go with Jeff? Like at least we know him. We don't know any of these other people. Like, is it the worst thing in the world if you go for Jeff? If it doesn't work out, whatever, right? So she goes to work for Jeff right out of school, 2015, so that summer. So she kind of carved out a position there. We didn't know, but Mr. Jeff Lang owns the city of Newark. So
Got it.
He is the biggest fish in that small pond in Newark. He has... I think it's like 450 doors currently. Wow. They just built a hotel on Main Street, and they're going to like 650, 700 doors over the next 3 years. He's got a bunch of big projects in motion. So everyone kind of knows him as the college landlord. But what they don't know is that he also has just as large a commercial portfolio as well, too. So City of Newark has a ordinance that, hey, if the property's on Main Street or Delaware Ave, it needs to have a commercial first floor with residences on top. So she carved out a job for him as a commercial property manager. So she was doing that for a little while, and then she got into leasing. So like he had vacant spaces like every now and then. So he was like, hey, like, it was his name and number on the thing. I'm like, that's not the highest and best use of your time.
Sure, like, someone with that many properties, of course.
Yeah. So she kind of carved out that role of leasing with him. Meanwhile, my job was seasonal. It was April to November. Golf course shuts down December, January, February, March. They have 2 courses. The other one's open, but the main course shuts down.
Got it.
So I didn't know what I wanted to do or anything. I'm like, all right, I'm a college dropout, whatever. Like, I'm caddying. It's great. The money was great. Like, I'm making $40,000 cash in 7 months, which to a 22-year-old, I'm like, I'm a king.
Shit ton,
Let's go.
Absolutely.
This is great. Yeah. Met with an accountant one time, and they were like, hey, are you claiming any of this? I was like, Mary Kate, new accountant. This meeting's done with this guy. We're done. Yeah, we're going to go somewhere else. But, so long story short, she got me a job working at Lang as well, too. I was a maintenance guy. So just kind of like a gopher. So picking up trash, checking on buildings, doing, various maintenance, tasks, helping out the other maintenance guys. Bought a company truck for him. So he's like, hey, dude, go to Porter Ford, drive over the truck that you think's best, drive it over. He's like, all right, cool, I'll take it, yeah. So he was just doing kind of like odd jobs for him. At that point in time, the company I think has like 12, 15 people now. At that point in time, it was like 8 to 10. And he was paying to have all the girls who like handle all the leasing and stuff get their real estate licenses. So I'm like, okay, like maybe this might be a thing. I had a friend, Ed Foy, who was doing real estate in Philadelphia. I'd like seen some other people that like I grew up with like get into real estate a little bit. So I'm like, okay, they're doing their licenses, this spring. It's going to be 3-4 months. Maybe I do this, right? Maybe I do this. So we had another family friend, Phyllis Lynch, who's with Keller Williams Media. So I started talking to her, and she was like, yeah, dude, just get your license. Like, you're going to be great at it. And I'm like, what is it? I don't even know what to do.
Yeah,
right?
What was it that made them think you'd be great at it?
People person. Yeah. So I just know a ton of people. So I have my wife has really adopted it. But I used to just tell everyone, hey, I have a photographic memory. I don't tell anyone that anymore because she says it for them. So I remember faces, I remember names. So I'm just like really good with that. Just really good at keeping in touch. Like it's amazing. My team sometimes will be like, how do you know this person? I'm like, grew up with them, dude. We played six-year-old basketball together. Of course, he's my best friend. Like, yeah, haven't talked to him in 3 years, but it's like, nothing's changed. Yeah. So just a people person. Didn't know anything about houses, no real estate background. My parents are blue-collar workers. My mom was a secretary. My dad worked in refineries. I have a brother who's a funeral director. So, like, no real estate background whatsoever. So I remember it was, like, literally Christmas Eve, like, or 2 days before Christmas. I look up, and Keller Williams was offering a class 3 weeks to get your real estate license. Whoa. I called. I was like, yo, you got any spots? They're like, I'm like, I'll pay right now. They're like, okay, yeah. What is it? And he's like, $500. I said, done. I'm dropping off a check. So went and dropped off a check. And then I walked into Jeff and I was like, hey, Jeff, like, thanks for the job. But like, this is my notice. Like, I'm going to real estate school January 2nd. He's like, okay, cool. Good for you. Prior to that, like he had like known.
You still got a good relationship with him?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Still a good relationship. So prior to that, we looked at a house in New York, and it was so funny. Like this lady, Kathy Melcher, she's still in the game. It's so funny. It was a hoarder house in Newark. Like, you know what I'm talking about.
Those are the worst.
You got to walk through one path. There's one path.
Yeah, just everything shoved off to the right and the left, and they've made this path that you got to, like, still try not to twist your ankle on something.
Yep. Yeah, so I remember, so I'm standing there with Jeff.
And how did it smell?
Awful.
It always smells the
always
worst.
Awful.
And you can never even pin what it is. It just smells nasty.
Yeah.
Cat piss, there's always a mixture of that in the conglomerate of smells.
Correct. Yeah. Along with a number of other stuff.
And what's crazy is that person, 9 times out of 10, I tell the people all this, because you walk through someone's house and someone's going to be, oh, I'm so sorry. It looks this way. Blah, blah. I'm like, it looks fine. Like, it's the people who don't warn you that think their home looks fine. Yeah. And then you walk in and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, but
so hoarder house.
Yeah. So hoarder house. So a couple weeks prior, we were looking at this house, and I went to the showing with Jeff. And this lady has no idea who Jeff is. The house is on Jeff Street. Jeff lives in a castle, right there on South College, like right off South College. It's a
right there in
the castle. Yeah. And we're at a house 10 doors down, and this lady has no idea who he is. We're standing in this room. I look down. It's stacks of Playboys, like old school Playboys, just like all over the place. And we walk out of there, and Jeff, at the beginning of his career, was a commercial broker. And he's like, hey, at this point in my career, like, I can't do that. Like, find deals, hustle deals, like sell deals like that. But why not you? As we were like riding back to the office. So he planted the seed. And then a couple weeks later, I went in there. I was like, hey, dude, I'm going to do this real estate class. So do the real estate class January 2nd to like end of January. Pass. Go ahead, pass the exam, and I joined up with Berkshire Hathaway. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna do real estate. The golf course, I caddied my first year, 2017. I knew that the golf course was shutting down. They were doing like an $18 million renovation to the golf course. So I knew it was going to be shut down 2018. So I was like, all right, let me caddy every single day, put away some cash, try to get this real estate career off the ground. So I was like, all right, I got 2 months until April comes. Let me learn as much as I can about real estate. Did all like the startup classes at Berkshire, yada, yada, yada. So I worked there. I do the caddying thing. And then, fast forward beginning of the year, January 1, 2018, I'm like, all right, I'm a full-time real estate agent, right? and I'm going to the office every day, and I'm like trying to figure it out. I'm the youngest person in there by like, 30,
miles.
miles, right?
Felt.
Yeah, some legends in there. Like I definitely learned a lot. Like
some living legends.
Yeah. Don't regret my experience at Berkshire at all. But I met with a gentleman named Steve Lloyd, who was like a big real estate investor, and he's like, dude, you got to get on a team. So I was like, okay, like I'll get on a team, right? So I interview with a handful of different teams, and honestly, I just picked the most radical dude out there. So I did a stint of 6 months with Mr. Jared Bowers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heard.
Yep.
Do we want to dive in on that one, or you just breeze right over it? Or?
Yeah, we definitely can. So what I say about Jared, and Jared and I have a fine relationship now.
Good.
Is he is one of the most talented individuals I've ever met. Like when he is on and he is working, I've never seen someone on the phones who is just like unbelievable. But his style of business at that point in time was strictly expired withdrawn listings. That was it. He was the king. He was the best at it. Super simple, and like he made a ton of money. He's going in there, 6%, $4.95 transaction fee. He's keeping 3.5 for himself. Price reduction, new photos, put the property back up, boom, it sells. Like being that second agent in is just like massive.
Sometimes it is, because you get the
the people have faced reality already.
Absolutely, because you have the ego of this is my home, this is where all my emotions are tied up, where all my memories are. So you just see it as worth more a lot of times. And with the we as realtors even do that. When I go to sell my own home, I always think it's worth a little bit more than even what the market says. Mm-hmm. So I hear you on that.
Yeah. So Jared was uber talented. At that point in time, he was.
And you're right. He was the expired withdrawn king, especially if it was down in that beach area. He was going to be the one that picked it up.
All over the whole entire state. He was amazing. Yeah. And he was just going through some stuff, which we all go through some stuff. So I don't regret any of my time there.
Good.
It was show up at 7:45. You throw the headset on and you're dialing till 11 a.m. 3 hours of straight calls. So like I was calling expired, withdrawn, circle dialing, doing a bunch of different stuff there. But I was like, okay, cool. Like I like this, but this isn't for me.
Heard.
My business is very warm. It's very referral based. It's very you should talk to Vince. Like, hey, Vince will hook you up with that, right? So I was selling a lot of houses. So I went from I did like 7-8 transactions. A couple of them were rentals my first year. 2 of them were the personal house, our first house that Mary Kate bought.
Nice.
And then we bought an investment property with Mr. Jeff Lang.
And is that with the team at this time, those 6 months?
No.
Okay.
No. So that's my first
initially with Berkshire.
Yep. Yeah. So now it's April 2018. I come over. I sold like 1 or 2 houses like January, February, March. April 2018, I joined up with Jared. I'm with Jared until October of 2018. In the first 90 days, I put like 10 houses under contract. And I'm just like, whoa, like I got money in my bank account for the first time, like legitimate money, not like caddy money. I'm like, this is amazing. Like this is going great. Saw some writing on the wall there. I was like, all right, I got to get in a different situation. So went out, interviewed with a bunch of different teams again. Don't have any regrets. Like I try not to have any regrets in my life. So I joined up with Kat Duralis at the time. So I joined up with Kat. And she makes you sign a 2-year contract. So I signed a 2-year contract. 6 months into it, I was like, this is not the place for me. I'm going through some personal stuff again in my life, 2019. I end up meeting my life coach, and she's like, hey, you made a commitment. Like, you're going to see this through, right? So, like, you need to do this. So I just put in my mind, I was like, all right, cool. November 1 of 2020, like, I'm out of here, right? I'm just going to put the head down and work, right? So 2019 was a little bit of a rough year. 2020, much better. End up selling 30 houses that year. Majority of them were, leads that I had brought in.
Generated,
yeah. And I did a deal with, I love to call her my sponsoring agent. She hates when I call her that, but I did a deal with Miss Madeline Dobbs. And she was the first person that I had seen locally with Compass. I had heard of Compass before, but she was like the first Delaware agent. So we did a deal together. And I was like, hey, can I get coffee with you?
Yeah.
And she was like a little like, I was like, come on, like, let's just get coffee. Right. Yeah. And so I sit down, I'm like, hey, look, like I'm 6 months out. Like this is like June, July. I'm like, hey, I'm like 6 months out. I'm trying to find like where I want to land sort of deal. I've heard good things about Compass. Like what's the process look like? So she introduced me to Compass. Just has like separate, like, they call them, strategic growth managers. So recruiters. So I talked to this guy for like 3-4 months, and I'm just like plotting my next move. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be a solo agent. Like, I got a little bit of money saved up to bring on like my first assistant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna do this thing, right? So November 2nd comes, I join up with Compass 2020, and like once again, like just to the moon, like it just takes off again. So that first like December through like middle of February, I sold like 15 houses and made like $200,000, like $150,000, whatever it was, like 200 gross, whatever it ended up being. I'm just like, oh my God, like, okay, like let's do this thing. Right. So, I had my little assistant Cole, he's still with us today. So, fast forward, it's been an unbelievable ride. So it's been 4 years of running the team. So Cole was the first guy who joined up with us. I did bring on an assistant for a couple months, like a paid assistant. Realized that wasn't like a fit sort of deal. So, long story short, I do, finish up 2020, 2021 comes, we're down the beach, down the shore, the Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore, okay, so you're not Delaware beaches, got it.
Yeah, I'm a Jersey Shore guy, which we can dive into that. So we're down the shore. My wife's upstairs. I'm like downstairs. We're just hanging out at the shore house. Property becomes available for lease right there, our office spot. I DM it to Mary Kate. I look at my DM. She had already just DM'd it to me a minute ago. And I'm like, this is it. Like I've always wanted my own office.
Yeah.
I had a business. I had a lacrosse business, stringing sticks. I had an office. So like I've always been an office guy.
Okay.
So when people
having a place to go,
yeah,
there's power in that. There's
yes,
a vibe that comes with it.
Yeah, that's separate from my living area.
Yeah.
We have a good friend, Katie Cutler, who runs Cafe Karma, and she talks about karma being your third place. You have your home, your work, and your third place where you hang out. And like I needed to have like a separate like office. So we're working at the Compass office, which is great. It's in Greenville, so it's 7 minutes from my house. But this property becomes available. And I'm like, Mary Kate, this is $1 million property. Like this is amazing. This is it. We had a business partner who is the godmother of my first daughter. And I was like, we got to make this happen. Whatever we need to do, waive the inspection, whatever. Have the agents represent us. They ended up getting like 3 or 4 unsolicited offers. Chose us. I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Hell yeah, dude.
Let's go, right? Yeah. So at that point in time,
is it like you get your offer accepted message?
Yeah.
Even for your clients, still, it's like, yes, this is like such a good feeling.
Yeah.
Such a good feeling.
Yeah. So we get the offer accepted, and like the settlement date's like October, like 60 days away. So
which year is this?
2021. Yep. Yeah. So Mary Kate is like, you're not opening this brand new beautiful office without me being on the team, and I'm like, yeah, like. Come over. Like, come over. Yeah, come over with your boy all day, every day. You're my best friend. You're my wife. You're my life partner. Like, of course, I've been wanting to get into business with you. And in that, 2020, 2021 timeframe, we had bought a couple properties that, like, needed full renovations. So I was driving, from home to Greenville, back to meet a contractor, back to Greenville, back to meet a contractor, back to Greenville. You sit in the car that like 5-10 minutes scrolling on Instagram, whatever it is before you go in. It was just adding up. So I'm like, hey, like we need an office space. And so that became available. I was like, okay, cool. This is great. Also at that point in time in the world, mask mandates, et cetera, et cetera. I was not about that. So like Compass put in one again. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to work from home because I knew in my back pocket, I got this office space and I'm going to be in 60 days. So I moved the team out of our Compass office into my second bedroom at home. So we were grinding in the second bedroom at home. Meanwhile,
I was going to turn on Instagram Live. Keep rocking. Keep rocking.
Yeah. Meanwhile, mind you, I live in an 800 square foot house. So like,
jeez.
It's a tiny little house, tiny little trolley square, 2-bed, 1 bath.
You make do.
Yeah. We make do. Like the team at that point in time is working on my high school beer pong table. So yeah, so it's hilarious. It was a vibe though. So we get in the office. My wife comes over. We like went under contract on the place in August. She knows that she's coming over. She tells her boss like, "Hey, I'm leaving." At this point in time, she'd left.
How'd he take that?
Good.
That was good.
Yeah.
That's always good. I hate when an employer gets that 2-week notice and then all of a sudden just becomes an asshole.
Yeah.
All of a sudden just the true colors come out.
Yeah.
And so that's good to hear because that's such a common life occurrence and you should respect the time that they had with you, especially when it was a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. So at that point in time, she had left Lang. She did Lang for like 2.5 years, like 2015 to 2018, she was working for a commercial company, Jones Lang LaSalle, JLL. CBRE, you familiar?
CBRE.
Yeah, so CBRE is like a big commercial firm. JLL, like they're the top
a lot
two.
Of letters.
Like,
a lot of letters.
Yeah, a lot of letters.
Tons of letters.
Yeah. So they're the top two like big commercial firms. So she was doing a lot of office leasing, which literally died in COVID. Residential, I'm jam packed.
Oh my gosh, residential rentals. Yeah, absolutely.
It's me and Cole. I'm like, babe, I need some help. Like, so she had come and like shadowed a few days. She like been watching me work, and it's funny because we've been talking about it the last couple of weeks. Like, I had to grow up and be a professional before she could come over and work with me, right? Like,
so, that's a weird one. So, like you got to start a business. You started an office, but you mentioned something there where it's so true. Where I think everybody kind of has that wake up period of becoming an entrepreneur and turning into a business owner.
Correct.
What was that moment for you? Do you feel like there was a moment of like? Because I feel like for me, anytime I feel a level up, it's usually because I put myself somewhere that I've either been avoiding going, been scared of for one reason or other, or just I think the brain's good at playing those games with you, making you feel like you're making the right moves, but a lot of times it's a vanity move, not an equity move.
Correct.
Where are those moments for you? You said
for me, looking back at it, like definitely going to Compass and being like, all right, cool. Like I've done this for 4 years now. I've had some success. And I really like in today's day and age try to put my ego to the side. In 2020 though, it was like, hey, I'm done with these teams. I want to do my own thing. I want to do it my own way. So like that was a moment. Getting the office was a moment, like that first time walking in there and being like, okay, cool, this is us.
Yeah.
And like what I tell my team nowadays is like, hey, real estate's a 30-year career, right? The first 10 years you're going to build it. The next 10 you're going to grow it. And then the last 10 you're going to reap those benefits of everything you've done in the last 20 years. So I'm still in that growth phase. I tell these guys all the time, like we're in year 8. Vince Garman's in year 8. You guys are in year 2, 3, 4, right? We're still growing, and doing this thing. So having the office, like having that place to go, planning, our flag on the corner per se as like, hey, we want to be good people in the community. We want to, do good business. Delaware's super small. I want people when I'm not in the room and my name comes up to say, hey, Vince Garman's a good guy. Yeah, so
that's your real brand.
Correct.
What people are saying when you're not there.
Yes.
Because people be saying some shit sometimes that they're not saying publicly.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah. So to finish up the story, we open up the office. We let go of the assistant. So it's me, Cole, and my wife, Mary Kate. I'd been recruiting another gentleman who's on our team, Connor, for a while. He kept turning me down. He starts come over in March of 2022.
Nice.
I end up.
Connor still with you?
Yep. Yeah, Connor's still with us. Yep. End up doing a deal. We started running some events, so we started doing coffees and happy hours and stuff. So girl started coming to the events, Jade Ruff. She's still with us, going on 2 years now. So she starts coming. We end up doing a deal together. She's at Berkshire, and we were running an open house, and she comes right up to me and like shakes my hand. She's like, hey, I'm Jade Ruff. Like, I want to come work with you. I'm submitting an offer. And I was like, okay, like, let's have a conversation. And like,
so she wants to submit an offer and work with you in the same handshake.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So same handshake.
I love that.
So I'm like, hey, like, let's have a conversation. Definitely open for it. And let's also see how this offer goes. Right.
Jade snaps online too.
Yeah.
She kills it with
she's
the
amazing.
content. She's absolutely
amazing.
Great.
Yeah, she's amazing. And I'm definitely happy to dive into Jade as well too, and like our team and stuff. So life just happened. So another one of those moments, like this is all happening like March, April. And my wife is 7-8 months pregnant. So this is all going on. And we go down to the hospital. And Jade like calls me and she's like, all right, I'm ready. Like, I'm coming over. I'm like, great. Awesome. Like, I like just say yes. And like, let's figure it out. And my wife's like, we're not ready. Like, tell her like June's ordeal. I said, nope, she's coming today. And she needs 2 offers written, by the way. So, like, hey, Cole, this is Jade. Like, they knew each other. I'm like, Cole's going to write your offers for you. Send them the address, send them the people. She's like, you have people write offers for you? I'm like, Jade, I'm going to blow your mind in the next, like, couple of years. Yeah, like, of course. Yeah, you don't need to, like, write your own offers. Like, if you're out showing houses, like that's why we're a team. Like, Cole's back at the office. Just tell him the stuff. She comes in. She sits down. She's like, what is dot loop? I'm like,
oh,
here
man.
it is, right? Yeah. And she's like, wait, everything's already all in there? I'm like, yeah, you told Cole to prep the offer. He prepped the offer for you. So she's like, I just have to click it and send it.
Isn't that so crazy how few, like, there's a lot of people in this, is probably a lot of industries that just do not know what they do not know.
Correct.
And are working so much harder
than you need to be.
Than they need to be. And that's a perfect dot loop. That's hilarious. Yeah. For those that don't know, that's an e-signature service. Real estate agents I know we live by. I mean, Follow Up Boss, dot loop. Those are my two babies. They can't leave the P&L.
Yeah. So Jay comes over. We have our kid, Murphy, our first child. Love of my life. Love Murph. So we start growing the team. So we're rocking. It's just like the 5 of us there for a little while. We have a transaction coordinator who's virtual. They're local. They're through Compass, so I consider them a part of the team. Our lady right now, her name's Joni, and she's fantastic. And then so we grow. Beginning of last year, we try to hire a social person. So we try one girl out, doesn't work out, and we find this guy, Pat. So Pat comes over and works with us, and that's a whole fun Delaware story. I actually live in Pat's grandfather's house.
Whoa,
so
okay.
I bought Pat's grandfather's house off of his dad. It's 50 yards from our first house, so I watched this house forever. Like, what is going on in there? Like this place, not necessarily like run down, but you can tell like it's like
no one's living in it. Yeah,
what's going on here? Saw some people moving some stuff out. Walked right over. Hey, what's going on? Like, I'm Vince. Like, I want to buy this thing. Followed up with him for like 18 months.
Yeah.
And he actually in 2021 we got married June 4th. His dad sent me the contract on our wedding day at like 3:00 in the afternoon. And like, I know you're not supposed to like quote unquote, talk to your wife, like old wives style, can't talk to your wife. But I call her and I'm like, hey, like they signed the contract, like we're buying another house. And she's like,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
what a day. Yeah, what a day.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. And then from there, so we brought on Pat. And then we have a new young girl as well too, Jordan. She's part-time, but like trying to get into it. So she's 21. The rest of our team, Pat's 23. And then Connor, Cole, and Jade are all 25. My wife and I are 31. So that's the squad. Last 2 years, we sold 150 houses. So we did 84 in 2022 and then 76 last year. And it's just been an unbelievable journey. I'm so blessed, so grateful. And, I get to do cool stuff like this. Being the business owner, per se, like read a phenomenal book, Who Not How. So
Who Not How?
Who Not How by Ben Hardy. So
Ben Hardy, okay.
It just talks about, hey, like I have basically kind of outsourced everything I don't like to do, right? So what I like to do and what I'm really good at is building relationships and like, servicing those relationships. So like kind of how our team is set up is it's 2 different businesses. It's a listing business and a buying business. So Jade, our agents can do both, right? I don't pigeonhole them, but I do try to just like, hey guys, let's remember to play to our strengths, right? We'll work on our weaknesses, but let's play to our strengths. So Jade is phenomenal with buyers. I'm natural towards buyers as well too. It's what I cut my teeth in. So Jade and I kind of head up our buyers team, and then my wife and Cole kind of head up our listing team. So that's how we kind of have it set up. Connor kind of catches stuff that like, falls into his lap from like both sides there a little bit. And all the while we're trying to grow these guys' personal brand as well too. Like, hey, like the best deals, you're going to get paid more money, or like when it's your personal lead, it's going to feel, good satisfaction.
Feel better, yeah.
When you sell a friend a house, a family member a house, like it's that good satisfaction. And then Jordan's kind of there. I kind of like to equate it to like a coach sort of deal. So it's a coach. I'm kind of the coach. We have the team. Jordan is kind of there, like getting her feet wet into the real estate. She does a lot of rentals for us. And that's how we kind of like rock it as a team. So everyone's got their little role. And like it's a true team. The group chat pops off all day long. Jade's away this weekend, Cole's away this weekend. So, Jordan's going to step up, handle showings. Connor's going to step up, handle showings. And we're all there to, love and support each other. So it's been an unbelievable ride. And, like I said, I'm just so grateful, so blessed to, have these people in my life, to, like it literally doesn't feel like work. Like my wife, sometimes she's like, what do you do all day? And I'm like, I'm like, I'm just living, babe. Like I really am. I'm just having the time of my life, and it's just awesome.
Do you find your goals and what you're going for in your career shifting as that bond and that growth within the team continues to shift?
I would say, and you've gone through this, I'm sure, the perspective and the priorities definitely change.
That was a good piece. So what perspective-wise changes?
Oh, so perspective and like priority, I'll tackle them both kind of together. Like you have the kid, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, yeah. That's an easy one.
Yeah, that's
you
an
have
easy
a kid,
one, right?
perspective changes.
Yeah, you have the kid. I'm like, okay. And so, like, for a while there, it's different. It's different being a mom than being a dad, right? So
I heard someone say, though, like, it's tough to go to the grave having fully lived as a man without taking full responsibility for someone who has no ability to take care of themselves. And
that's a beautiful quote.
Yeah, when I read it, I was like, shit, yeah. It's like, it's not like you get this upgrade in the mail. It's like, hey, congrats, you're a man now. But it's just like, wow, I have to, grow this human into another decent human.
Yes.
You hope. And you have 18 years to do so, and there's no manual. Go.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
And you have to live off your own traumas you have from your own parental experience as a kid.
Yeah. And then, like, in addition to that, like, my wife and I are together all day long. So there's stress on that.
Of course. So your perspective shifts drastically in that scenario.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, like, at the beginning, like, you think, all right, cool, I have the kid. They're with their mom. Like they'll do bedtime. It's cool if I'm there, 3-4 nights a week, right? No. My wife wants me there, and I want to be there for bedtime. I freaking love bedtime. Like, coming home knowing, hey, like, I got no appointments tonight. Like, I'm locked in family time, 5 to 7:30. Try to put my phone down as much as possible.
Yeah.
It's tough. We're kind of chained to this thing all day.
I'm like a 6 p.m. home lock, and then it's 6 to 8 just playtime.
Yep.
The difference with our playtime right now is I'm trying to weigh the balances.
Your daughter's a little older.
She's 5, 5.5. So right now we're in this balance of she's getting into video games.
Cool.
She likes a tablet, but we're really controlled with it.
Nice.
Really. And I'm trying to pick low dopamine games. Like, we do not need to play these big, crazy, explosions, this. Because, like, I feel we grew up in the alpha phase. I feel like we grew up in the alpha phase of we not knowing what these things are doing to our brains. And, playing 8 hours a day of a first-person shooter probably wasn't what I should have been doing all day when I was 14. But we're playing, like, Lego Fortnite, the Lego version.
Okay,
so it's like Minecraft almost.
Nice.
And then she also plays Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say, like, hey, babe, like, here's a OG Game Boy. You're going to play Tetris.
Oh,
that's what I
there you go.
Like,
hell yeah. Yeah, a little Pokemon action. Yeah, here's your Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
And you can go from there.
And the screen's only this big. Yeah.
Maybe if you get good, we'll get you Nintendogs on a Nintendo DS. You can train a shepherd to do a backflip.
Yeah.
So you mentioned family perspective. Obviously, kids a great example of when the perspective of how you view your own life, the priority of how your checks and balances and how your own day is going to shape is going to be so much different, especially when it's, not everyone has the full flowing family like you have. You have multiple people you're responsible for.
Yes.
Your wife, and she's also involved in your business. So lots of priorities to line up there.
Correct.
But going deeper into the perspective side of things, do you see yourself continually shifting your not your business model, but say your priorities within your team?
In terms of like what? Yeah.
As you grow and like as you're bringing on these people, because like you said, Jade walks up to you at an open house. You didn't know her before that. Your things shift.
Yep.
And you probably didn't see that an agent joining your team that early, like you said on the phone, but hey, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Do you just run into a lot of scenarios where you feel like you're building the plane on the way down?
Oh, yeah, we talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
The term we use is, hey, we're going to jump out of the plane and we're going to build the parachute on the way down. Yeah, and that's
a better example because it's tough building a plane. I don't know how to build a plane. I feel like I'd be taught how to build a parachute.
Yeah. But that's what we talk about. That's the analogy that we use. And it's been awesome.
Yeah.
And like in terms of like we just did, end of year reviews, and what I told to all of them, and I was like, guys, I'm speaking to myself as well too here in these meetings, is you're the only thing holding yourself back.
Of course.
Whatever you want to do, someone's either already done it, so you just need to do it like a little bit better or like your kind of way, or like if it's something like completely new, like go for it. What's the worst thing? You're gonna fail. Okay. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the guy who did the fail list? He purposely made a list of things that he knew
I think I've heard
wouldn't
about it.
work, and then he started doing like all these obscene things. Like he had on the list like take a flower, knock on someone's door, and ask to plant it in their backyard. Go to a donut store and ask them to give it to you in the form of like the Olympic logo instead of a typical dozen. Like go to a Burger King and ask for a burger that looks like the one on the menu. Like doing all these obscene things, and what he was finding is more and more people were saying yes than he experienced. And it gave him this confidence to understand that, yes, he got some no's. He got plenty of no's. But it taught him there's way more yeses out there than he thought. And I think you're right when you say that we're the only ones that hold ourselves back. Because when it comes to those difficult conversations, those big things we fear in our life, almost always it's up here.
Yes.
Is where that fear is where the actual issues are. We're creating these narratives and stories that have not happened.
Correct.
Interactions with people, arguments with people that never transpired, and there's no evidence that it ever will transpire. And we're living in the worst realities possible, all in our heads. We do it to ourselves. And then we still got to wake up, keep ourselves clean, maintain our relationships, make money, be a father, and do all these things. So the priorities just keep growing.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you maintain that as an entrepreneur?
So
like mental health wise.
Yeah. So, I'll say like the routine changes. We were talking about this at the beginning. Your routine has changed, and like it was nice kind of getting back into it. You were talking about like over Christmas.
Oh
break,
yeah,
right?
can I get into that real quick? Yeah.
Sure.
What we mentioned before the call or before we started. It's not a call. This isn't a call.
No, this is legit.
Yeah, this is we're in the studio. Even though we thought about doing that, like having Zoom guests, but it's just.
It's not the same.
This is much better.
Yeah, travel great distances to see people in person.
100%, dude. I'll go to an event because I know 2 or 3 people I know that I miss and care about are going to be there. But yeah, I was talking to you about over Christmas break, I rediscovered my love of that early morning silence. I've been going to the gym in the morning, good 2.5 years straight. And I actually shifted that now in 2024. Where I'm going more in the afternoons and doing more at-home workouts, more yoga as well. And I'm doing it because my mornings, I'm taking more for myself, because during that time, man, when she didn't have school, when there was no other priorities for my wife that I had to schedule around, and I had a week where I could be in this office at 5 a.m., I got more done between 5 and 9 than I was getting done maybe in a week some weeks.
Yeah.
Just that silence. No one needs me. There's no fires to put out. There's no leads to get back to. Man. And so the priorities like shift when you have a kid. Now you're going to school. Now you're doing the things. But yeah, I wanted to mention what you're referencing.
Yeah, definitely. So like my journey with it going back, we're huge on, mental health. We're, very involved with SL24.
SL24.
If you've heard of that. So Sean's house in Newark, Delaware.
Sean, you got a SL24?
Yeah.
Is that you?
Yeah. Yeah. So Sean Locke, he was he was a friend. Unfortunately, he took his own life. So like I have all these guys like in their contract, like, hey, if you need to take a mental day, like take it. You
in the contract.
Yeah. Like it's unlimited. Like go on vacation. Obviously, going on vacation as a realtor is when you get the most busy. So I'm like, go on vacations, guys. Like live your life.
Yeah.
Like you're an independent contractor. You're affiliated with us, but like live your life. Do it up. Like
absolutely.
You're always going to have this home base here, but I don't care if you're in Lewis. I don't care if you're, in Sea City. I don't care if you're in the Bahamas, like wherever you're at. Got Connor on our team goes to the Bahamas a lot. Nice. So
Sean keeps trying to get me to go on a ski trip.
Yeah, I've been trying to go on a ski trip. I've never done any like extreme sports, maybe a bicycle.
I've gone in an inner tube, and that is the only thing I've gone down a significant hill in. What would you start me on, Sean, if we do this trip?
Bunny slips.
Yeah, but what instrument? Am I going on skis, snowboard? He's got a mic.
People say skis are easier, but I'm like, no way.
What do you think, Sean?
Yeah.
I feel like general public wise, skiing might be easier. I feel like if you're a skater and you've been doing it for a while, snowboarding will be.
But what do you think I should do? I got the pole in the left leg, so I'm a little bit more straightened out and balanced. You put me on skis
for sure. You can roller skate, right? You can ice skate and stuff.
I can't ice skate.
I'm willing to try. It's something on like my little bucket list. I definitely want to try. So if you guys go,
I can skate when there's 4 wheels that are like squared off, not when they're all in line. I do not know how to rollerblade.
The best place I've been to on the East Coast is Camelback.
Okay.
Camelback. Okay.
Poconos, right?
I'm actually going this Saturday. So
yeah, but yeah, and that reminds me of it too. Like we need to have those trips. And when you say vacations, dude, I love shit like that, like a day trip, a weekend trip, getaway. And that's one thing Delaware's got such a good advantage on is I mean, you know it. You're right around the Jersey Shore. You're right around Philly. You're right around all these places.
Dude, we have gone down a rabbit hole in the last 48 hours just on Airbnbs. I'm like,
that are near you, and there's so many.
I'm like, who is using this stuff? And like, you see it, and we went down a rabbit hole because I dropped off a friend who's back in town who's staying at an Airbnb.
Yeah.
And there's hundreds of reviews. I'm like, hundreds of people have stayed here? Like, what? Yeah. And then like looking it up, like there's whole houses you can rent in Greenville for $1,800 a night, like a DuPont old mansion. I'm like, what? And then here's the barn on the other side of the property for $800 a night. That's beautifully renovated. I'm like,
Sean, we should rent that and just make a video. Just like we rented the Greenville mansion.
Yeah.
Stayed the night.
Yeah, if you look it up, it's like the Great Barn in Greenville.
Can you look that up? The Great Barn in Greenville? Yeah. Is that near the haunted road near the DuPont thing in Greenville?
Road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right around the same area?
Yeah, close. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so going back to what we were talking about, like priorities and mental health and stuff.
And to clarify the question, I love that it's in the contract with the Garman Group, mental health. You're right. Agents are independent contractors, and everybody needs to have their mental state great before they can perform. Yeah. Holy cow!
Not sure why it's in Spanish.
This is $800 a night. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, or 13,633 Mexican noches. Is that a noche?
I thought it was pesos.
That was pesos.
Yeah, right. I don't
Maybe
know.
I'm just like uninformed.
Maybe this is Portuguese, not Spanish.
I'm curious as to why it's anything other than dollars. Did we change? Has something happened that we don't know about? This is not what I thought about when you said DuPont. I automatically, when you say the word DuPont, I think big brick, lots of slabs, shingles.
Yeah, so there's another one for $1,800 a night.
Oh, this is a different one. This is not the one.
So this is the barn. For
okay.
$800 a night. Yeah, but there's another one for $1,800.
That's if you got, but you could fit. How many beds does that got? 8, 10, a lot. You can sleep in that living room space.
Yeah, what's it say? 8
Habides, 4 habitaciones. That's going to be 4 bedrooms. Yeah, 4 bedrooms, habitaciones. Wait, does that say 4 camels? What does that say? Go back up. 4 camas. Got it. What's a camas? Beds, probably.
Yeah.
And then baños is toilets. Okay, bathrooms. I understood.
I wanted to show this Hobbit house.
Wait, what?
It's in PA.
No way.
Going to, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're going to it?
Yeah.
What? I remember you mentioning this. This looks great. I love it.
Yeah, guy on our team, Cole, he is doing a weekend in Lincoln University, which is like near Oxford, PA.
Lincoln University?
Lincoln.
Okay, I know Lincoln University.
Yeah, he's doing a weekend there for like a friend's weekend. And I'm like, you guys are just staying in Oxford?
That's amazing.
For what?
Dude, so...
Oh, nice. We're back to English.
Yeah, this is back in English. This is great. $249 a night. You could stay in if you're listening to the audio version, this looks like straight up Shrek's swamp house that you're staying in. Conveniently inherent in the design is the opportunity. It's the opportunity for the stunning. I've never seen Lord of the Rings. For the stunning clear, don't hurt me. I know. Clear glass dome over the bed that allows you to gaze at the stars as you drift off to sleep. And of course, no OVR stay is complete. What's OVR? Is complete without a well-appointed bathroom.
Vacation rental.
Yeah. A what? Ohio Pay. Okay, that's their company.
A lot of letters.
So many letters, dude. Oh, no, I wasn't done reading. I have one more line. The Hobbit house at Fernstone is an easy choice. There you go.
Love it.
That's dope, dude. And where you're going here soon? You and the girl?
Yeah, going next month.
Dude, that's so awesome. This specific one? Or did they got like multiple?
Yeah, this specific one.
That's so cool, dude. I might have to go to a Hobbit house. If you want to find that, if you're watching a Hobbit house, you Googled, right?
Yeah,
Farmington, PA, yeah.
Farmington, PA. That's awesome.
Give them a quick shout out.
Yeah.
So the mental health of you, though, as the overseer, as the visionary, as the person, you have to play the mental 4D chess of every relationship you have going on with every single person, whether business, personal, all at the same time. Make sure you're maintaining them. All while developing the business and, doing the daily activities of selling houses,
correct.
Or doing what we're doing now. Like I had someone comment before, like, this guy makes so much money, he's not even selling houses. I got a listing appointment at 2:30. Yeah. So like we're always moving around. Mm-hmm. How do you keep yourself in tune and make sure you don't go off any deep ends?
Correct. Yeah. So getting back into it, like the routines kind of changed, but overall my routine has kind of stayed the same. And I absolutely love it. My wife sometimes like, this is a little long, but I'm like, okay, like, but it's me, babe. Like I'm gonna do me always. And I always tell our team, like, you got to be authentically yourself. Like, people see through fake stuff all the time.
All the time.
So very faith based right now. I grew up Catholic, went to Catholic school, all the way through 8th grade. My mom was like, why don't you want to go to Monsignor Bonner or Cardinal O'Hara or Malvern Prep, like these other Catholic schools? I was like, I'm done with religion a little bit. So went to Haverford, was non-parochial, so like non-denominational, so no Catholic involved there. Got back into my faith a little bit like my junior, senior year. There was God Club on Fridays. Which
high school, college?
Yeah, high school.
High school, okay.
So got involved with Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
FCA, Randy Chambers?
Yep, yeah, so FCA. Went out to Vail, Colorado, played lacrosse out there, went to Lake Placid, played lacrosse up there. And that was the first time where I met, our coaches, Scott Hodgson and Hoffman. These guys were like, hey, dude, you can just have a conversation with God. It doesn't need to be a set like Our Father, a set like Rosary sort of deal. Like, you can just talk to God like a normal person. I was looking at these guys like in their mid-30s, like, okay, like maybe there is something to this. So I always kind of like thought about it. And like I had my own issues with the Catholic faith, going back to being a stubborn, teenager, right? Like sort of deal, like whatever, right? When we had our daughter and my wife was like, hey, like I want to get her baptized. I said, hey, look, if we do this, like I'm not a C&E person. So Christmas, Easter. Like, I don't want to be a C&E person. I want to go to church. I want to be involved.
Never heard that C&E person.
C&E
Christmas
person. Yeah,
and Easter.
2 times I go to church, Christmas and Easter, yeah. So I was like, hey, I want to be involved. I want to, get back into church, sort of deal. So my life coach in 2019, she was very faith-based. She got me a devotional. I post my devotional basically every day. So what my routine looks like right now is Compass has a group called 6 a.m.ers. So Tuesday, Thursday, it's a Zoom call with agents across the East Coast. They do a West Coast version as well, too. So Tuesday, Thursday is a Zoom call from like 6 to 6:45. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's like a motivational video, question of the day sort of deal to kind of get that mind right. But what my routine looks like right now is I wake up 6 a.m. I do yoga. So I do yoga with Adrienne.
I love yoga with Adrienne.
Yeah.
Can you pull her up just so we can shout her out?
She's beautiful. I love her so much.
She's beautiful.
She's a beautiful soul.
Beautiful
like,
soul. And her Aussie
voice.
dog.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So I've been crushing that.
Which my daughter loves because that's Bluey.
Yes.
That's Bluey's.
I have a funny Bluey story.
We'll get to that. Perfect.
Yeah.
Bluey's
so I do yoga. The flow challenge right now is fantastic because they're all 20 minutes long.
I saw that. I didn't join the challenge.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, so I started it in February. I'm nursing a little bit of a back flare up right now.
Okay.
I'm at the end of it though. I'm out.
Ooh, she got a new one for tired feet.
Yeah,
I'm about to rock that one.
Yeah.
What she's doing right there, I did all the time when we're up on the tired feet. When I broke my leg, because that gets all of the blood flow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you feel like your legs have been.
Yeah.
The first time I did that, I was like, oh my God, I need to do this like every week.
Yeah.
And I'm mad I haven't done it for 20 years.
You used to hit that a lot at like the beginning of the season, like when your legs are super duper tired.
Sure.
Running and stuff.
Yeah, for lacrosse.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah, so I hit the yoga, and then I get into my reading. So
What are you reading?
4 things that I do right now. So number 1, I read my devotional.
Okay.
So devotional, I typically will throw that up on my Instagram, Facebook story. And I love so many people reach out to me, hey, what is this devotional? I've been meaning to put up like an actual Facebook post like, hey, everyone's been following the journey. Here's the devotional. It's the Tony Dungy devotional.
Tony Dungy,
Yeah,
old
fantastic,
Indianapolis Colts.
Yep.
What a great guy.
Yeah.
What a great individual human.
Yeah. So it's like it's a verse of the day, their little story, and then like, a call to action sort of deal. So I do that, and then I have a little gratitude journal. So right now I write down 10 things I'm grateful for.
Love that.
The first 4 are exactly the same every day. Number 1, it's God. Number 2, it's my wife, Mary Kate. Number 3, it's my daughter, Murphy, Joy. And then number 4, it's my son, Winslow Kilpatrick. And then, kind of just what I'm grateful for, the other stuff. And then at the bottom of it, I've most recently been writing down like 2 kind of prayers. So number 1 is I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And then number 2, if God is for us, who could be against us? So just getting back to that mindset, like, hey, you can do anything that you want to do. And so I really try to put on the armor of God and like my faith and just really kind of give it all up to him. Whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen. I'm going to do my best, and it's not my will, but his will be done. And then so that's number 2, that kind of gratitude journal. Number 3, my life coach for our wedding anniversary, or I'm not sure exactly the reason why she got it for me, but she bought me a Bible. So the Bible had a bunch of like reading plans in the back. When it hit January 1, I was like, let's do this. I'm reading the Bible right now. So I finished the first 3 books. I'm into Numbers right now. So I've done Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus.
Ooh, you made it through Leviticus.
Yeah, Leviticus was a little rough. Leviticus was a
That's
little
some
rough.
dry reading right there.
Super dry.
Eliad, the son of Herod, the son of Robin, the son of...
Yeah, so super dry. And the book tells you, it's like most people, when they try to read the Bible, they struggle with Leviticus.
Well, it's a book. So I was raised in a very Christian household, and we won't get super deep into my religious. I love this conversation. I love hearing what your take is, but yeah, Leviticus is looked at as one of those chapters where it's like it's really good for historians because you get everything's marked out. This person was related to that person, and this was here and that. But when you're reading it,
the son of so,
oh my goodness, it's just like, can we get to the next part?
Where's the action?
Where's the miracles?
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing right now. And then the last part of the reading is whatever book I'm reading, 10 pages. So just 10 pages a day. Boom, I have it set out. I know exactly what 10 pages it's going to be. So that way, like...
That's perfect, dude.
Yeah.
That's 18 books a year.
Yep.
18, 20 books a year.
Yep.
That's such an
3
easy
for
habit.
so far.
And I bet a lot of people hear 10 pages a day, and they're like, oh, that's a good, consistent number. And it's like, no, you do that every day. You're reading a significant amount.
Yes.
Are you and you're a physical book reader?
Yeah, I
you
like to
wanted to
hold
hold
the
the book.
book. Yeah.
Got it. Understood. I'm an Audible guy. I'm also an Audible guy. I found out. So at first I liked it because I love, especially because we're typically reading nonfiction. I know I am at the very least. I can't get in the fiction. Like I don't know. I know it's fun, but my brain just goes a billion different ways in my imagination. I can't listen to the book and picture what they're even talking about.
Yeah. I'm super visual, so I got to see stuff. Yeah, if I see it, I'll remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll wait for the movie to come out. But on the nonfiction, like business stuff, motivation, self-help, psychology, communication, I love hearing the author read it.
Yep.
And then certain people like David Goggins, he'll do an Audible and he'll have like a little podcast with them in the middle of the chapters, or they'll go into different items or an interview.
I've definitely tried the Audible a few different times.
I love it.
Never
Like,
split the difference with Chris Voss.
Chris Voss, that's a beautiful
That one's
one.
got to be Audible.
I met him. He's a weirdo, but he's a great guy.
Yeah, because like the tonality of the voice is so important.
So
when it's like teaching you and stuff. Like
Talks about mirroring.
You can actually hear it and understand what it sounds like.
The DJ, late night DJ voice.
The late night
Yeah, Jim Quick, Tony Robbins, Napoleon Hill. There's so many good books out there, and I think, like I said, you say 10 pages, and no one's really gonna bat an eye that you're breaking down any walls, but you are, because you're doing the consistent daily activity. Like I'm jumping on a treadmill, 2 years in a row every morning for 20 minutes. It doesn't sound crazy, and people would even message me like, 2.5 miles an hour. I could walk that. Like I am walking it. Like what's your point? Like
100 days in a row.
Exactly, but are you gonna do it on day 17 when your head hurts? Are you gonna do it when you accidentally ate pizza the night before and stayed up till 1 a.m.? Are you going to do it when you're back from the vacation and that's the last thing you want to do? Like, are you going to do it when it's cold and your wife's cuddling you up? Those are the toughest mornings. You're right. And that goes for anything. It goes to the grind of the real estate, and it goes to the mental health behind it, because you have to check those balances. I feel I have to have an anchor for my mental health. I have to have like a couple things that are my go-to, like shut the switch off in my head. Golf's one. Family's one. And I feel slowly but surely, this is also becoming one. I love just sitting and having these conversations. This doesn't feel like, this doesn't feel like work. And we're doing like 1 or 2 a week now. I want to bump it up, but I have a whole team to convince we should bump it up before we bump it. There's a lot of people I have to get a yes from, but I love these conversations, and I especially love having conversations with people where you're on a different trajectory than most. You mentioned right at the beginning that in real estate, this is an old head game for the most part. Yeah. The old head game, a lot of times too, at least when they were coming up, gave no look toward mental health. Yeah. And really chastised and demonized a lot, like the therapy and medication or whatever you were doing to better your mental health was kind of like, oh, you weirdo.
Taboo.
Even reading a self-help book, like, you need help? I'm like, damn right I do. Like,
we all do.
So
you do too. Trust me.
So that's perfect. You not only implement it within your team, you also structure it in your own life. And I love that you have the wake up time that you're disciplined to, which, by the way, is such a humongous puzzle piece that's missing for so many people when it comes to their own level of fulfillment with their life, is simply doing the things they said they're going to do for their own betterment. When you say you're going to set the alarm for 5:15, wake up, and you don't, the world's not going to blow up. It's going to keep running fine. But when you're getting up at 7:30, you've lied to yourself.
Correct.
And that sticks with you, whether consciously or subconsciously. Do you feel that's a struggle in our business, and we're always having to talk to so many people and keep the promises and grind hard and push? And do you have the kickback when you don't want to work on the Sunday when the Eagles are playing? Like, where do you draw that line between grind and mental health?
Good question.
Because I think you got the perfect baseline, by the way, of having that start of the day anchored in routine. And you have full control, and you're being super optimal. You're feeding your brain good information. You're feeding your heart good information with your list of gratitudes. I love that it's 10. That's a shit ton of things. And we could easily write 40 if we sat and thought about it, but oftentimes we'll make it to the end of the day without thinking of one, you know. And you're giving your time to learning, whether it's, you know, the nonfiction reading and also the devotional. You're sharing that with people. So already the start to your day is flawless.
It's magical. It honestly is. Yeah. So to answer your question there, how I kind of look at it, and our CEO Robert Refkin at Compass, what he talks about is, like, there's no such thing in his mind as work-life balance, right? He calls it lifestyle integration, right? So I don't want people to just look at me and be like, oh, like, he's a real estate agent. Like, I want it to be Vince Garman, great guy. Sells houses,
yeah.
Number two, right? Great guy, number one. That's what I want it to be. So
real good at selling houses too.
yeah. But so, like, I call that, and this is what we talk about with my wife, and I've mentioned her a few times. My life coach is Tracy Craig. She absolutely changed my life, and she's just a rock in my life. She gave the blessing at our wedding. I love this woman to death. She's amazing. So we talk about, you know, it's the airplane analogy again. You got to put your own mask on before you can help other people. So for me, grounding that in that morning routine is putting my own mask on. When it starts stretching into like 7:30, 7:45, and the kids are up, my wife's like, "Hey, you done yet?" I'm like, almost.
But it's crazy because if you woke up at 7:15, 7:27, you're walking right into fight or flight, really. Because it's like, open the eyes, like, kids,
babies
like,
screaming.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not babies yell. Exactly. They're screaming from in there. Wait until they wake you up by standing next to your bed, man. There's nothing that's ever made me want to punch a child, my own, but man, when they just, like, you just open your eyes and they're just there, it's like, oh,
that was me to my mom.
It's the spookiest thing. I'm not one to get spooked super often, but man, that jolts me in the morning.
But
and if you're walking into your morning just right into a day that you no longer have control over,
correct,
you know, starting just an hour, sounds like you're getting an hour and a half, 2 hours of you time. It's so pivotal. I think anchors the mental health long term.
Yeah. So, and that flows through to like my work routine as well too. So my work routine, I tell people, like, cause, you know, similar to you, like when you reach a certain level of success, they're like, hey, come talk on this panel, come do this. Right. So, and I get there and they're like, hey, what's your secret to success? And it's just like, I've showed up every day for the past
just
5 years.
Do it.
Yeah. Like, and they're like, okay, and what did you? I'm like, you answer your emails and your texts and your calls, and you just have to know the market. And they're like, I'm like, you just have to do it every day.
Well, one, I like the consistency factor, and then the knowing what to say. Well, I don't know what to say on the phone, or I don't know what to say on social media. Like, if you're actively studying the market and you're actively consuming information about what your job entails, I feel it kind of exudes from you. Like, if you're telling me you don't know how to make a 30-second video per se, or host a 2-minute phone call, just breaking down what's going on in the market right now, you're also telling me if your friend stopped you in an aisle in Target and said, hey, Lisa, how's the market going? You're telling me you don't know the answer. And that is a humongous red flag. That's like baseline number one, which you should be able to answer as a real estate professional. And I was on a panel the other day, and you see that a little with some people where they're looking at social media and any form of lead generation is like the quick fix.
Yeah.
And when in reality, the big secret is you showed up for yourself every day. Maybe when no one else was that day. You know, maybe you had an argument with the wife the night before. Maybe the kid kept you up. Like maybe all these things. The certainty is you were showing up for yourself.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So like the work routine, I also have a period where I put my mask on at work as well too. Not the COVID mask, but you know, my life mask, right?
Work mask. Yeah.
So like my morning routine, I finish that up. I get ready. Meanwhile, like, you know, the kids, bottles, breakfast, whatever, right? I do drop off. So I drop my daughter off first, and then I drop my son off to my parents' house a few days a week, or he's like with us a little bit until he goes to daycare, which will be in September this year.
Mary Kate wants a coffee on the way home.
Nice, perfect. Yeah. Dunkin', baby. She's getting
That's what.
Yeah.
I think Wawa was a suggestion actually. I think it's, can you grab me Wawa? Pelliot said, can you grab me Wawa on the way back? And yeah. So it looks like her and Mary Kate.
Nice.
You got some coffee runs.
The whole office is getting coffee.
Love it.
But yeah, so I finish that up, and I'm typically in the office by 10. It's usually like 9:30ish. But by 10. And when I get in there, I do a similar routine. It's Facebook. I make sure my notifications are done. People are like, what are your best lead sources? I'm like, Facebook, Instagram. Like, they're free, and I'm already friends with the people. So it's right there. So I make sure all my notifications are done there. Happy birthdays go out, right? Super duper simple thing. Happy birthday. Just try to stay top of mind. And then we have Workplace through Compass. So Workplace is just Facebook for work. So I do that. We get a lot of referrals through that. So just honestly got a couple like this past week. Like ladies like, hey, I need a house in Smyrna. I'm your guy. Gotcha. Yeah, done. So I do that. And then I go through the hot sheets every day. If I don't go through the hot sheets, I feel like I don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
You need to. Yeah. And it's 20 minutes of going through the hot sheets, but I need to do it. And then once I'm there, I check my text again, make sure my calls are answered. And then from there, I'm kind of diving into, you know, the email.
Yeah, then the day can move around, be a little bit more flexible, a little bit more gray.
Yeah. So I try to do that. That takes me, you know, to 11:30, 12 o'clock, figure out what we got going on for lunch. And then I try to keep the appointments to the afternoon. So if someone wants to meet with me, it's afternoon because I'm in the flow. I'm in flow from the time I wake up 6 to 12. You know, I'm in that flow state where I'm doing me, making sure I'm all good, putting out fires with the team, et cetera, et cetera. Then I can go out and serve the community, you know, ready to roll, right? So I'm like, at that point in time, I'm rolling. You know, you've been up for 7 hours or so, whatever it is. I like the appointments in the afternoon.
Yep.
My boy Cole, it's so funny. He has an alarm at 3:45 in the afternoon, which like goes off, and it's like, all right, cool. Like if there's one thing that I didn't get done today, let's do it right now.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
So it goes off, and it's
last chance alarm.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful tone to it as well. So I hated it when it first popped up. I was like 3:45 is not the end of the work day, right? Yeah. And I hated it at first because it's not like the typical like alarm that goes off. It's just this like doo-doo-doo. Like it's like a different sound. So now I love it. I'm like trained Pavlov's dog. I'm like, all right,
mouth starts watering. What do I need to do?
What is the one thing I didn't get done today? Let's do it right now.
Yeah. So, what's the call? What's the email? What's the task?
Yeah. Because my wife typically does pickup, or my dad will drop off. Both kids at the office around 4:30 to 5:15, whatever it is. So the kids come back in the office, and then I'm in, you know, dad mode from when we walk through the door at 5 till 7:30, like they're both down, tubs, in bed, right? And then, you know, I'll plug in if there's an urgent task there, scan the email, make sure it's like good to go. But that's me. I found what works for me.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm not a laptop guy, so I'm a desktop guy, dual monitor. So like,
oh, dude, absolutely, PC'd up.
I take that and like. So, like, one of my things is I actively try not to work on my laptop. I just try to do everything on the phone. If there's something that needs urgent attention, like, sure, I'll break it out, or I'll try to get Cole, Jade, or my wife to do it, like, in that sort of fashion. So, because, like, I don't want my kids, like, seeing me, you know, just, like, on the laptop at home. That's not me. I've never really been, like, a laptop
I love it.
guy.
Well, dude, I'm seeing we're now at almost hour 30. So, our time is kind of, like, rocking and rolling over.
It feels like it's literally like
20, 30 minutes. Yeah, maybe. But what are the places people can connect with you if they want to connect with you.
Yeah, so a few things. So personal Instagram is just Vincent Garman, Vincent Shea Garman on Facebook. Those are two places to definitely connect with me. The team Instagram's really kind of taken off. So the Garman group on Instagram, Mary Kate and Pat have been running that very well. And then we have a little neighborhood page, Trolley Trends there, so trolley.trends. So those are the places to connect with me. We run a monthly.
Those are both great pages, by the way.
Thank
I
you.
love what you
Appreciate
guys
it.
are doing with those.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. We run 2 monthly events. So we run a monthly coffee at Cafe Karma, first Monday of every month. It's from 8 to 10 in the morning. It's great. Come in, you get a nice free coffee on us or one of our, trusted vendors. And then we run a happy hour third Thursday of the month starting, April through October, November timeframe. So come on out, see me in person. My cell's still out there on the internet. I think one day, we'll kind of be a little bit more clandestine with that, but I'm readily available. So shoot me a text, give me a phone call anytime. I'm happy to help. So
You're the dude. Appreciate having you, Vince.
thanks, brother. Appreciate it, dude.
Absolutely.